So I'm here today with Doug Graham of the 80-10-10, and we're at the Woodstock Fruit Festival 2013. It's an awesome event. If you've never been and you think you want to come, you really need to get here and meet people as awesome as Doug is.
Oh, well, thank you.
So,
Thank you.
what gave you the idea for 80-10-10?
80-10-10 wasn't really my idea, and so I don't claim it. I'm very humble about that and very straightforward about that. The concept of 80-10-10 has been taught by health professionals for, you can't say forever, but because we didn't know about carbohydrates, proteins, and fats for all that long. But pretty much since we've known about the existence of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, people have been studying what happens when we eat various ratios of those foods, or of those components of our foods. And it didn't take long to notice for the sports physiologists, these are the guys I trust the most, okay, but it didn't take long for the sports physiologists to notice that when their athletes ate more fat, it adversely affected their performance. They didn't have all the high-tech stuff we do now to know why, but lots of fat didn't make for the best performance. And it didn't matter whether it was strength, endurance, or speed, or performance tailed. And the medical people established the protocols and the equipment, the technology came out in medicine to notice that when fat went up in the diet, certain thing happens to blood sugar and to blood oxygen saturation. And as fat levels in the diet rise, blood oxygen saturation tails off, meaning it's harder to get oxygen to your cells. This affects athletes, but this affects cancer patients. This affects people with emphysema. This affects anybody who wants to think clearly. Less oxygen to the brain or the muscles or the organs, it affects all of them. Meanwhile, the same medical people notice that when you have more fat in your diet the harder it is to get the sugar out of your bloodstream. If you can't get sugar out of your bloodstream, you've got diabetes. So, I mean, 1959, Journal of American Medical Association, they already explained clearly that the cause of diabetes is too much fat in the diet. And so, I mean, I was born in '53. To me, I grew up with this information. It was already out. The sports physiologists are showing that if you can't get oxygen to the muscles, performance decreases. If you can't get glucose to the muscles, performance drops off. And so by the 60s, there was a guy named Nathan Pritikin who opened in Pritikin longevity centers and helped thousands and thousands of people regain their health using a dietary program that was about 7% fat. This is about where his recommendations, he usually used the number 7. But then a bunch of other people started using that same low-fat protocol. Dr. John McDougall and people in Mexico and people all over the world started opening up alternative, if you will, centers that were getting people well from a wide variety of diseases using single-digit or 10% fat. The number 10 came up a lot. Eventually, the longest health study and nutrition study ever done, the Framingham study, started recommending less fat, 10%. The largest study ever done on nutrition is the China study. T. Colin Campbell, one of the world's leading number crunchers, if you will, okay, and he not only said 80-10-10 as the ideal ratio, but he also said fruits and vegetables are the ideal foods, raw foods are the most nutritious foods. All this stuff is coming out, and eventually I just did what I was told. When I was a kid, I was told fruits and vegetables are good for you. All the way through school, through college, through my medical training, fruits and vegetables are good for you. They are the only health foods. I said, I wonder what would happen if we took a diet that revolved around health foods whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic plants. The 6 key words in quality of food evaluation. If you want to know if your diet is the bomb, whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic plants. We use those 6 parameters to create a caloronutrient ratio where we use more than 80% of our calories from carbs, fewer or less than 10% of our calories from protein or from fat. And by the time we do that, we came up with a whole new program essentially that revolves around a lot of fruit, all the vegetables you care for. What I found out is you have a diet that results in no cravings and a lot of health.
I came here, and I would suggest anybody else come here, to be around people like yourself who have the experience, who have gone through the process and know what to do to actually learn more about it as you're transferring your health.
I think learning helps a lot. You don't need to make the same mistakes that everybody else made. If you can just read about it and avoid the pitfalls and potholes and mistakes and just go, oh, let me just go on forward. I can point out a couple. If you don't eat enough fruit, you're going to crave something. You're going to crave starches, you're going to crave heavy foods, you're going to crave sweets at the end of meals, you're going to look for stimulants or sweet fruits in between meals. All of these are indicators you're not eating enough fruit. If you don't eat enough vegetables, you're going to start looking around for something salty. And if you want to have no cravings at all, eat all the fruit you want and all the vegetables you can, and certainly all the vegetables you care for. And if you eat a diet of fruits and vegetables, you'll be shocked at how good you feel. When you feel good, you can go on and be yourself, pursue your own interests, be the best you can, do whatever it is you do without any encumbrance, with a clear mind and a fully activated body, and the enthusiasm and the willingness to do whatever it is that turns you on, whether you're a school teacher or a piano player, or it doesn't really matter what you do. An athlete, you'll do your best when you're at your healthiest.
I've been asked, and now I'm going to ask you because I will trust my answer better when I tell people that. Do you recommend high water fruit over a more dense fruit? And the same thing with vegetables, high water density?
All the fruits and vegetables play a place and have a role. I really believe that. And there's times where you need so much water coming in, the heat of summer, it's really nice to have melons. In the middle of winter, it's really nice to have bananas. There's the higher the water content, typically, the easier the food is to digest. For people who have compromised digestion, they'll often find that they do better with melons or mangoes or peaches than they will with dates or super sweet fruits. A lot of people find it's a lot easier to digest tomatoes and cucumbers, and lettuce and celery than it is broccoli and cabbage and cauliflower. Sure, people can find me at foodandsport.com. It's a 10-letter word. The word food, the letter N like Nancy, the word sport, foodandsport.com. They can find the largest free questions and answers on the web, an FAQ that goes on, tons and tons of articles. We link up to hundreds of Food and Sport channel free videos. My store is on the site. We offer all sorts of seminars, books and tapes and audio programs, even training for people who wish to become certified lifestyle consultants. But you can get all the information you need. You can go to the library and request at your public library that they get you a copy of 80-10-10. All the libraries in the United States have the ability to now order 80-10-10 and give you a free copy and read it.
That's awesome.
So it's out there. It's available.
You have a new book out.
I have a new book out as of yesterday, Prevention and Care of Athletic Injuries. I'm excited about this book. Coming with a concept of let's not have injuries and let's learn to create healthy bodies so that injuries are far less common. But also, if I do have an accident or injury, how do I care for it? I'm hopeful that this is going to reach out a healthy message to a whole new demographic of people who are more sports minded, and I'm excited about that, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But but I have a new book coming out after that too. So I
You
mean,
do?
yeah,
Awesome.
sure. There's more. My goal is a book a year. I don't always hit it,
cool.
but my goal is a book a year. If you're going to be a writer, you got to write.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Doc, thank you. It's been awesome.
It's my pleasure.
Yes.